Good evening, everybody. This is Jersey Joe, and what a big game it was for the New Jersey Devils trying to make some noise uh, early in the season. Now, the first 5 games are in the books. So, after the first 2 away games were 5-2 losses, we're starting to look a little bit more at a bit more established group of players between younger players, veteran players, and maybe a few rookies here and there. However, with the past 3 games, the Devils have seen a lot of bolstered roles and players that they added and have kept over time in their core. And one of those guys that I've mentioned before here on Heads Up Hockey, it's definitely going to be the Jack Hugheses. You're going to have the Nico Heishers. And of course, the past few seasons, we've seen the progression of Jesper Bratt and Igor Sharangovich. So today was a great game for those guys, especially Dawson Mercer. The past season, he showed that he could score more than 40 plus goals in an 82 game season. Now, these players are guided by another veteran who was acquired this offseason, Andre Palat. Now, Palat scored 2 goals in the past game versus the Islanders. And Mackenzie Blackwood was actually a much better goalie in that game and also really was on top of his game a little bit less versus Anaheim, but came up clutch. I was at that game versus Anaheim, and I see the Devils not only peppering opposing defenses, but they're also wearing out opposing defenses more frequently. So, what does that have to do with today's game? The Devils outshot their opponents once again, and they were able to pass the puck around more efficiently. They were switching lanes more, skating on the offensive zone. They weren't messing around versus the last few seasons. Maybe a little bit more. They would hold on to the puck too long. They would be too stationary and be a whole lot harder to score on opposing defenses and goaltenders. Now, what I'm thinking about is the fact that you have Andrew Brunette, who is the associate coach just below Lindy Ruff, leading that power play offense. It's starting to kick in, and it's only a matter of time before that power play becomes more consistent. And the Devils are already leading several facets of the offense, as well as starting to get better at defense. And I really like what I've seen, especially, I'm going to mention this guy a lot, Kevin Ball. He's my personal favorite player that I see. Uh, I noticed someone in a group chat sent me this. So the Devils, as of today, are third in the NHL for the face-off wins, and that is 57.6%. And the next thing is shots against per game. The Devils are first overall. And if you don't believe me, I got my nice handy dandy phone right here. I know it's a privacy screen, but I'm just letting you know it's on there. It's New Jersey having only allowed 21 shots against per game. And the Maple Leafs are at 24.8. The Avalanche, the Stanley Cup winning Avalanche, this team this year is 7th with 29.8. So that says a lot in their progression. This team has a lot going for itself. I'm not trying to jump the gun on anything. But penalty kill percentage, the Devils are 7th out of 32 teams when it comes to the penalty kill. At 92.3, they're actually tied for 6th with the Montreal Canadiens. That's a good thing. And the only few teams still left at 100% are the Sharks, and that's no more today because they gave a power play goal to Dawson Mercer, the Newfoundlander. And so, with that being said, that is broken. But what I really want to get into is this. The Devils really could have been up another goal had it not been for the War Room in Toronto. Now, I'm a very big critic of the War Room in Toronto. There are a lot of questionable misinterpretations of the rules. And to me, the skate blade on the back of Nico Hischier, when that pass was redirected off the defenseman onto Hischier's back blade, on the heel of the blade, Nico didn't pick his skate up to then kick it to make it distinct. He actually pivoted his heel towards the goal while keeping his skate on the ice. That is not a kicking motion. I have to disagree. Therefore, the Devils would be up by another goal. The Devils eventually said, F you, we're scoring number one now, which should have been number two. So that was Yegor Sharangovich's first goal of that period, if not more to come. And then, of course, the Devils would then get their second goal thanks to a guy like Dawson Mercer on the power play. And that was basically one of the tightest games I've seen this year. And for those of you who don't know, the Devils used to cough up leads in the second period. And they had a little bit more trouble with empty net goals, but they tried to get the empty netter. There's one where there wasn't just enough sauce on it that just didn't go into the net, but San Jose retrieved it, but the Devils kept killing it off. Yes, Dougie Hamilton did take a penalty, but it was worthwhile because then the Devils helped kill it off. And then everything else just fell into place. To me, Lindy Ruff is still on the hot seat because you're not playing your best forward prospect in Alexander Holtz. And when you do play him, you're putting him on the fourth line. And that's not doing him any justice. He's a sniper. He needs to get more playing time with decent playmakers at the center position. He can shoot from the right side and the left side. Doesn't matter for him. He wants to put pucks on net. The Devils know how to shoot the puck on net this year. Lindy Ruff did say that he's not moving as fast enough as a skater. I think he can move fast as a skater. It's just a matter of letting him being with the right player at the right time. And I think over time he'll get that rhythm. And once he gets more of that rhythm, he'll score a lot more points and be a difference maker. And for instance, this 2-1 game could have easily been 3-5-1 had he been on the ice, in the lineup. And I know the Devils are starting to turn things around in their division. Yes, Pittsburgh is 3-0 in the first 4 games. The Rangers are 3-1. Devils are 3-2. Philly's 3-1, but I don't see Philly lasting there. I see Carolina moving up. I see Pittsburgh dropping. I see the Blue Jackets being a little bit better. However, it's going to be a long season, and I always talk about the importance of the farm team playing a big role. And the Devils have a lot of pieces. And looking at this game, the Devils had guys like Kevin Ball ready, Fabian Zetterlund ready to play at will. And Kevin Ball, to me, is every bit as advertised. And the big Sasquatchian left-handed defenseman knows how to play a defensive role. He can keep forwards and other skaters to the outside behind the net, away from the high danger zone. He can really stave off penalties. Last year, he was just learning to get used to playing at the big league level. And I know a lot of people gave him flack when the Devils traded for him and getting Taylor Hall traded away. I was a big fan of seeing that trade. Why? Taylor Hall didn't want to be here. He did not want to be here. He just wanted out. And the Devils wanted someone or some pieces that wanted to be here. And Kevin Ball was part of that. And he certainly showed that he not only belongs in New Jersey, he will be part of New Jersey for quite a while. And to me, when I saw him skate and use his reach and everything, the Devils are building something special on that blue line. They have Ryan Graves, Jonas Siegenthaler, and before you know it, Brendan Smith might be out of job down the road. And Nikita Hotuk is coming up very soon. He's the next Anton Volchenkov, in my opinion, because he can block shots, also protect the net too. He loves to hit the body. So, with that being said, the Devils have some very interesting defensemen. And there was mention of another Devils defender. I want to get into this a little bit. And it is mentioned by Jeff Marek of the 32 Thoughts podcast. And he updated Puck Empire saying it'll cost a first round pick to acquire a second pairing defenseman at the deadline. So, with that being said, I've been saying for a while that Damon Severson is on his way out. And if the Devils can't get an extension on him, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be a sign and trade. A sign and trade in the way that the Devils will end up getting a 2023 first round pick for him. And I can see the Devils using that second first rounder either for drafting another player in this year's draft or trying to parlay it first for that player that's going to get you into the wild card and past the first round. That's what the Devils are going to try and shoot for first. And if a team isn't willing for that price, the Devils will hold on to that first rounder if they can't parlay it in time after making the trade for Severson for that first. So eventually, you can use that second first rounder and try and juice it in a deal. So, with that being said, Tom Fitzgerald over the past few seasons has made an early first round pick available. He's also made some middle and late first round picks available. And he's always willing to field offers. So, with that being said, I would not fire Tom Fitzgerald. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to manage his assets and to reduce his liabilities. So, with that being said, I have faith in Tom Fitzgerald. The one thing I don't have faith in, if things begin to digress with someone, it's Lindy Ruff. Lindy Ruff has less than a year on his contract, and I have a lot of trust in Andrew Burnett long term. And he did what he did best, working with a highly talented, very skilled Florida Panthers team. And with that being said, the Devils have a coach in the waiting, and they don't have to worry about going fishing for another guy. They already have their guy. players are already getting to know Andrew Brunette. And Brunette is the kind of guy that will help the Devils achieve success near term and long term. So, with that being said, the Devils have an interesting schedule. And why do I say that? Because if you look at Monday, the Devils host the Washington Capitals. And the Capitals right now are 2-3. The Devils are 3-2. The Devils are going to look to take over a veteran team in the Washington Capitals, and they're going to have to go against an arch nemesis in a guy like Alexander Ovechkin, the grade 8. And they usually have trouble against them. But the problem with the Capitals is they're getting a little older. They're getting a bit slower. They're still dangerous, but they still have enough bite to get them into the playoffs, in my opinion. But their window is starting to narrow for the playoffs. But they do have a guy like Connor McMichael, who's very electric and certainly can do a lot of damage, the former London Knights forward. And with that being said, the Devils also have a game in Detroit. They're looking to redeem themselves against Detroit. And I know the Red Wings are probably a little bit more advanced in some areas. However, I see them getting a point or two back against Detroit. And this would then propel the Devils against a non-divisional team. And so with that being said, the Devils are in really good shape. And then they have a home game on Friday versus the Colorado Avalanche. And a good buddy of mine, Locked On Avalanche, Shaggy Vondu, is certainly going to talk about that game. And he's also the host of Here in Puckburg. And certainly going to be interesting. I mean, this is a Valeri Nichushkin-less Colorado Avalanche team, but they still have Cale Makar. They're still down a decent star player, but they do have Alexander Georgiev in net, so it's possible that we see him that night. Maybe, maybe not, depending on what's going on. And definitely see what Mikko Rantanen is going to do. The Devils will look to try and host the reigning Stanley Cup champs and maybe try and keep a close game, if not try and beat them on home ice. So with that being said, this is the Jersey Joe report, and stay informed. And I'm over at InsideThePuck.ca. And this is the Heads Up Hockey podcast here on YouTube. And if you want to follow me, hit the like button. Also, you can find my other podcasts on Anchor.fm. It's great to see everyone. And if you have any recommendations for any upcoming episodes, please send it in the comment section. Thank you. Have a great day.